Good morning, Midnight's Edge fans. We're here to tell you that we have so much more to offer you now at our Mixed Tees store. Not just t-shirts and hoodies, but we do have plenty of those, and new designs for that matter. You can also get mugs, and of course our brand new limited Amber Turds stained blanket. That's right, just for your bed or wherever you need it. So head on over to Mixed Tees now and get all your apparel and goodies from Midnight's Edge.
Get up, wake up, this is your final warning. It's time for midnight sets in the morning. The gang is ready to go and it's time for the show. It's time for midnight sets in the morning.
It's Friday, and what a week it's been so far. We got a panel full of white boys, and we're here to tell you about the news. That's right. I'm Tom Connors. We've got Andre the Boss Man, who's been under the weather the last week, but how you doing today?
Well, I still am under the weather, just slightly less so. So
There you go.
That's
And because of
having
that-
kids in school.
And because of that, we're going to be pushing back a few things for a week. So just keep in mind, kids, we're going to stay at this schedule for another week, and that's it. And then come
That's
a
it.
week from Monday, we're going to be moving the show earlier, and you'll actually get to see us on screen. At least Andre and myself. I can't speak to anybody else. Paul, I know we've been getting letters about Paul to get him off screen, but and it's just because he keeps showing his nipples.
Yeah, I did that on FNT, but it was very popular.
I gotta say, there's not much of a hashtag for free Paul's nipples. It's not as big as the other one.
We already freed him on X. I don't know if we can free his nipples too.
I'm waiting to be canceled.
Well, we're trying. We're trying, Paul.
Anytime. Hey,
We're working on it.
I can use this time for other things.
See, this is what he tells me in the background that you guys don't know about. He's really pissed that we got him back on X. He's like, look, I've got other things to do. You guys getting me back on X, I appreciate.
No, I've been
support,
very
but-
tame on X.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Jokes and light
Playing
commentary.
it safe.
I have not gotten into any battles with anyone.
I'm just glad we live in a world again where Shadow is not as dangerous as Destiny.
Right? Oh my God. I think he's trying to get plugged. I mean, from what
I
I've seen.
don't understand Destiny.
And I barely even know who that individual is, but yeah.
Well,
Anyway, that other voice you keep hearing is WDW Pro, our special guest this morning. How you doing?
Howdy and hello. Happy to be back, guys.
We have you for a limited time. So it's a limited time offer. We took it. We did not leave it. So we're glad to have you here. And we're going to take the time we can with you. So we're not going to waste too much.
And there's
We
no
also-
news, Tom. There's no news for us to talk about.
None.
So I'm going to have to, we're going to get some scoops
Especially
about
Disney related.
Yeah, nothing.
Indeed. So we're going to get into nothing. And to do that with us, we have Scribbles.
Oh, thanks. Great intro.
How you doing, Scribe Light?
I was doing great until I was compared to nothing. But okay. Good morning, everybody.
No,
Did
what
I
he meant
compare you to
was
nothing? That was
nothing to
totally-
contribute is what he meant.
No,
That's
I said we had
true.
nothing.
That's
No,
true.
we have nothing to talk about. As the joke is, we have a lot to talk about. That's what I meant. It had nothing to do with you as a person. But I
Right.
can come back at you like I do Paul all the time.
Oh, that's
if you
fine.
really
No, that's okay.
want me to.
Whether I want you to or not, you will. So what's the point?
I don't
Why
pick
are
on
you?
you.
No, Paul does though. It's fine. He takes
Paul
up the
can.
slack.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's my job to pick
I
on
know.
people.
Yeah. Yeah, if he doesn't annoy you, I will. And then we have another bald man with us as well. But thanks for being here, Scribe Light. We do appreciate
Oh yeah,
it.
appreciate it. Yeah,
Even though you don't contribute anything.
I know.
Now I said it. I'm kidding. Of course, you're one of our greatest contributors, and we appreciate it when you can make it. And another individual who is a journalist of sorts, I guess you can call it that nowadays. It's almost an insult, so I don't want to insult you too. Chris Brawley.
Muckraker, journalist, I don't know.
Oh, and we have to add right wing.
Right-wing journalist, that's
activist,
what you are, yes.
Christian
Right.
right-wing
There
white
you go.
activist. That's me.
That's yes.
I'm just glad to be here. Glad to be back.
We're
It's been
glad
a few
to have
days.
you.
I've missed you guys. Boy, I was really counting on that fall premiere at an all new time next Monday, because that's officially the first day of autumn, September 22nd.
we screwed
So
it
now
all
September
up.
29, so I can sleep in a little bit later next week. That's great.
I didn't vote for summer to end, guys. I don't know who made that decision, but I don't like it.
Me
I
either.
believe that's Nathan's own authoritarianship.
I swear, nature's fucked up right now because I live in Wisconsin where we have all 4 seasons in any given week, right? and this year, nature's decided, fuck the weather. I'm turning it to fall, despite the fact that it's 90 degrees outside. We have leaves falling. So
Yeah,
it's
you got to look up at those
no.
trees and say, "What are you doing? What are
Yeah.
you doing? It's 90 degrees. Soak up some sun."
Yeah, what the hell?
You got to tell those trees to do better.
Stupid
Exactly.
trees.
They're not living up to my expectations, and I don't like it. But yeah,
You know,
so I want to thank this.
trees, stupid losing their leaves.
I want to thank this illustrious panel for being here today, and hit that like button and share it out if you haven't already. Let's grab a few super chats before we get into the meat of the topics today. Pack and Proton says, "How much worse can it get for Disney at this point?" Oh, well, we're going to talk about that a little bit. And Pro, I mean,
Before we
as a
do-
state of a whole, yeah. What would you say?
Yeah.
How Disney?
Before we do, I'm just going to give some general life wisdom. Never
Sure.
ever think that things can't get any worse, because there's an upper limit to how good things can be, but it can always get worse. So you do not want to tempt fate by asking that question.
Oh yeah, trust me. There's times where dying is a blessing.
Listen, I'm going to tell you, if they play their cards right, they're not in a bad spot. They got rid of Jimmy Kimmel without, they got rid of him, and Tatiana Maslany said she won't play She-Hulk again. Listen, that's a grand day. That's better than a fresh donut. Come on, Disney, take the victory lap. Just shut up. Get out of this. Let them do the little protest for a day or two. They'll load back up in the van. They'll go to whatever next George Soros event they have.
Yeah.
Let's be real
We'll
about
get
Tatiana.
into- Yeah, let's actually begin with Tatiana, since you named.
I was just going to say, let's be real. She's acting like it's, you can't fire me, I quit. Let's be real. That's what this is about. She did this because she's got no future at Marvel.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But Tom, let's begin with setting up for those who do not know. What did she do?
She said she's never working for Disney again unless they hire Jimmy Kimmel back, it looked like. Let me see if I can find the post.
They're real free speech advocates. Let me tell you, they really, it doesn't matter what your position. Wait on a second, I'm getting news. Oh, they didn't do any of this for Gina Carano whatsoever. Never mind.
Or Roseanne Barr.
Or Tim Allen.
Nope. Or Chris Pratt, who right now is facing calls to be canceled because he prayed.
Yeah, and that reminds people of Charlie Kirk. That's very triggering. That's such
Okay.
yeah.
And I'll tell you too, the majorly offensive thing about all this is that what did Jimmy Kimmel do that caused him to be pulled? It wasn't the FCC. They want to play that game. Really, what it was is the stations all across America said, we cannot put this on the air anymore because Jimmy Kimmel essentially came out. It would be as if after the MLK assassination, it would be as if somebody came out on TV and declared it was a black man who killed him. And it's like, no, that is the opposite. That's like 180 degrees. That is completely and utterly misleading. We know why, essentially, this deranged individual did what he did. And you don't get to come out and make a knowingly false statement and declare that it's, one of his own supporters or whatever. That doesn't work. And so it's not even that the government stomped him out. It's that the affiliate owners, Nexstar and Sinclair, those two groups that own major media markets, said, we can't put this on the air. We can't keep doing this.
Yeah, but then unfortunately, the poison pill to this is that Brendan Carr said anything at all about it, because if it was going to take care of itself, it could have taken care of itself. So when he steps in and he starts making threats of pulling licenses, I want to make something very clear here. I am not defending what Jimmy Kimmel said. However, what he said was not a crime. It was not like yelling fire in a crowded theater or something.
Actually,
Any other journalist who said something demonstrably untrue on the air, they would I mean, they should post a retraction or a correction. And of course, if saying something untrue on the air was something that was going to get your entire show pulled, there'd be no news networks on the air. The View would be gone by now, and so on and so forth.
And
but
there'd be no comedy.
And there would be no comedy. Yeah. And so Brendan Carr stepping in, unfortunately, puts a cloud over this of federal intervention and federal meddling in what is ultimately free speech. Even if you don't like it, it's free speech. Now, my first thought...
Technically, I got to stop you there, Scribe, as somebody who's had their FCC license. Once you have an FCC license, that no longer applies to you when you're on the airwaves. You have certain regulations. You can't just go out on the airwaves and go, fuckity shit, damn, suck my dick, piss, and good night. Guess what? That's about $50,000 in fines right there.
Any corporation has its own rules.
That's true too, but I just wanted to stop because freedom of speech is not the same on open broadcast airwaves as it is on anything
Kimmel didn't
else.
do that. Kimmel didn't do that.
Yes, he technically did.
It was misinformation, really. If
Yes,
Biden's
and
little
it does
channel
fall.
had gotten approved, he would have gotten booted. The thing is it's not in the public interest on one thing for you to be saying untrue things about the news. It's like if you are on a broadcast FCC regulated network, not cable, you have to you can't report something as true that isn't. Now, the goal is that he could say it was comedy or satire, but a plain reading of what he said.
Well, Chad, let me toss a thought, and you tell me if I'm wrong, because I think you and I are going to be on the same page, and I don't mean to, but I think I have something shorter, and I want to learn from you. And let me give you the opportunity to help me out here. Chad, I don't go to Jimmy Kimmel, and I hope nobody else does for the truth, for obvious reasons, but also because he's a comedian.
Right.
And so it's hard to draw the line of where is comedy and where is not. I don't care about any of that a whole lot. What I care about is that he did something that, outside of all the legalities and the FCC and all that, just set it aside. The markets across America said, we can't air this. The people who watch our stations, they're gonna flee, they're gonna protest. We can't play this. Sure. So apologize so that we can put you back on the air. They didn't say we'll never put you back. They said apologize. And Jimmy Kimmel's response, when Disney brought that to him and said, hey, the stations all over the country say that they can't do this. Jimmy Kimmel's response was, screw you. I'm not going to apologize. I'm actually going to double down and insult more.
Right.
And that's what ended this thing.
Sure. So can we just get one thing straight? And please correct me if I'm wrong. The quote in question was, Jimmy Kimmel's comment in question was,
it's on screen. We have the exact quote.
MAGA is desperate to trying to characterize this kid as there it is. There's the quote there. I was trying to do it off the top of my head, and there you brought it up because you guys are geniuses. To characterize the kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them. So the problem with this is that the way he's worded it is that he's already claimed that it's a MAGA person. That's really the problem with
correct.
This.
That is 100% on the money.
This
is where I'm coming from.
Thing to say that the MAGA gang is desperately trying to characterize this as a kid that one of them didn't do it. That's actually, you can say that.
Yep.
But the other part, where he says other than one of them, that's really what did it.
That's the problem. And this is what I was getting at too, is it's not about Trump, actually. See, this is where the media is spinning it. It's not the line that he said about Trump. And this is where I'm making my point to Scribe, and I'm not trying to jump down your throat here, Scribe, but there are different rules. And, and I know because I got fired for playing songs with the wrong, lyrics in them, let's say. And I know how these rules are regulated, and I know how much trouble I could have gotten my station into, and that's just for something silly.
The 17th time you played Tiptoe Through the Tulips was too much, Tom.
That's what did it. You're not wrong. But no, and there are several levels to this, as Pro is probably going to break down here. But as far as the FCC level of this goes, the FCC is not somebody who normally goes after people. And in a normal situation, kind of what was said here just a few minutes ago is correct. Had he just come out and apologized, the FCC probably wouldn't have done shit. Because in most cases, if you either apologize or if you get fired, they won't come after you. And at worst, they were probably going to get a fine. See, it's not like he was going to go to prison or anything like that. And you're not wrong in that respect. But here's where it falls in that line. And it's what he said right here. this
Okay.
thing here, not the last
Okay.
part, but the first part.
Okay, let me just clarify. I have no problem with Jimmy Kimmel being taken off the air by his employers. If this is a line that he crossed and he wasn't willing to, make a deal for the sake of pleasing the law and the rules that they operate under and apologize and have a fine or whatever, then fine. It's the appearance of impropriety by having the federal government step in and make threats and try to influence this beforehand. And also Brendan Carr sending GIF celebrations to journalists after Jimmy Kimmel was taken off the air like a child. The Jimmy Kimmel situation aside, Brendan Carr should at least be censured, or if not removed.
I agree.
I don't disagree with the conduct on that part, but then again, I hate being the whataboutism guy on the panel today because I hate whataboutism. But we've seen how many on the left celebrating, and I'm talking about the same people in their same positions doing the same shit over people just putting pro-political things. Like, that's the thing, is we have a level here where this is a lot like, a situation where for years the Republicans or the right has said, let's turn down, the noise a little bit. Let's turn down the temperature. Let's try to get along. And the left has said, no, fuck you. You follow Satan. And then now they've killed one of the other side. And then now they're saying, oh, wait, we need to turn down the temperature a little bit. See, and that's where I understand. I don't condone, and I agree with a lot of what you're saying, Scribe. I don't condone it, but I can totally understand and respect where people are coming from, where they're saying, oh, now you want some sympathy? This is actual consequence culture, kids. That's what they're trying to say.
But it's the principle of the thing, unfortunately, for this entire deal.
Scribe, I got to interrupt you. I get the principle, but the people like Kimmel, the people that are threatening to boycott Disney, the people that said nothing for Roseanne or him, or attacking
Gina.
Chris Pratt, and on and on and on. Trying to be nice and proper and polite from the opposite side, on the right, it's just a waste. It means nothing. And Brendan Carr, if he wants to send a GIF to Brian Stelter at CNN, one that's happy that Kimmel's off the air, even if he did nothing but say, hint, hint, real nice network you got there. Be a shame if the FCC looked at it. Kimmel's been a hateful man for a long time. He's worse than Colbert. I remember when it was something about Fauci had talked about the vaccines, and he even said, well, if you don't have a vaccine, rest in peace, Wheezy. They shouldn't even help you at the hospitals. He's hateful. And he got a little comeuppance because he said something he probably shouldn't have. Not just that it was insulting, but it was totally out of line. And ABC, Disney said, nope, you can't do that. And the FCC chair, what they know now is that rather than it being someone who would just let it slide, it's someone who would not let it slide. It's someone who says, you know what, there's a new sheriff in town and you better straighten out your boy.
And I'll toss this in. So if the FCC actually did something, then I'm going to be on the first, I'll be one of the first people to say, hey, this is dangerous. And I think the right is actually self-policing itself pretty well. And if they were not, I would call it out. But Pam Bondi, for example, the U.S. Attorney General, she came out and talked about they were going to go after hate speech.
Oh, terrible.
And the right rightfully said, you're out of your mind.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Free speech means that you could be hateful, or at least you can say things that are deemed hateful by those people who don't like you. And we can't go after that because there will be another administration one day that could weaponize that against us in a way that we would think is unfair. So I think the right's doing a pretty good job on that. On the FCC, if all he does is send childish GIFs, GIF, and emails, that's silly, right? But Paul does that to everybody on the panel 17 times a day. We got it, all right?
He sends me something much different.
Much different.
If I may, gentlemen, because I just want to say, Scribe, you are, of course, entirely right, and so are you, Chris.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. Kimmel absolutely has it coming. And there is a time for whataboutism, because it has been pretty darn one-sided for years now. Here's the problem. The problem is that the conservatives, they are in power. They have the White House right now. That is not going to last. Maybe it's just 4 years. Maybe it's 8 years. Maybe it's 12 years, who knows? But sooner or later, the other side is going to take back the power. Then they are going to be the one to nominate the FCC chair. And here's the thing. These people, you already saw what they want. You already saw what they're capable of doing. You already know that they're kind of double standards. These are people that will be like, okay, we're going to do everything to you and pretend that is fine. You do something to us, we're going to come back 10 times. And now Carr, unfortunately, he was a little bit too visible in the media, which means that the FCC can do everything they're supposed to do. And just look at what Carr has been doing so far. He's actually been policing the regulations that are in place. They haven't changed the rules.
Right.
The rules are the same as always. The only thing that they're doing is they might actually enforce them. This is the same thing that happened when Rammstein, one of my favorite bands, actually got arrested in Georgia or something like that, because there was some kind of like, can't be loud in public or something like that. It's a rule that they have that they could use to arrest almost any concert or metal band if they so wanted, but they chose to apply the rules there on that one occasion. If Carr gives that kind of impression that he's now doing this selectively to favor Trump, that is the narrative they're going to play. But it doesn't matter what the reality of the situation is. What matters is perception. And you see right now, the influencers are creating the perception that this guy, Carr, he is Trump's guy and he is serving Trump's bidding. I mean, this is what we have in the news all over Europe right now. This thing is getting international coverage, and the coverage isn't that Kimmel stepped over the line, that he went into hoax territory. No, he hasn't. And the kind of territory where, of course, the FCC would have to do a hearing and stuff like that. But that could easily end up with this is a pure hoax, because what he said is demonstrably false. We're not there yet, but we could end up there. But that's not the news that's going around the world. The news going around the world is that Trump took down Jimmy Kimmel because Jimmy Kimmel was critical of him. That's not reality, but that is the perception that is being created out there, and that is what the Democrats are going to remember and pretend to be reality when they come back into power, and then they're going to flip the script and do the thing in reverse.
Andre, let me ask you a question about that, because only you will be able to answer this. Domestically in the United States, of course, from an ethnocentric position, but in North America at least, maybe just in the United States, maybe we don't include Canada and Mexico, but in the United States, if something comes out of the legacy media at this point, I would say that the majority of Americans have come to the decision that they're just not going to trust that. Like, whatever it says, it's probably the opposite. And so that has led to the new media taking over. Now, you're talking about internationally how this is being covered, that they're projecting internationally that Trump got rid of Jimmy Kimmel, and therefore this is draconian and anti-free speech, anti-discourse, all that. Andre, my question to you is, internationally, across all of Europe at least, what percentage of the population do you think has reached that level yet where they understand the legacy media does not give them what's actually happening, their anti-reality, and what is the percentage there that have come to realize it's the new media where they have to go get the truth?
It's going to vary in territory to territory, but I would say if you take Europe as a whole, 20% tops.
And thus why we have a complete and total cultural separation between what's happening in the United States and what's in Europe.
Well, you just have to listen to what Andre said. You have to take Europe as a whole.
Yeah, because it's going to. Exactly. This is what I'm saying too. It's going to be different.
He got me.
In territory to territory. Like, for instance, Scandinavia is going to be much worse or better, depending on how you choose at it and how much they choose to believe mainstream media, than, for instance, the UK. The UK is a fairly, according to some, draconian place right now. The media doesn't want to portray that image, but I have some people on the ground who are less than happy. Others say everything is fine. They know what the crazy people are talking about, which only goes to show that people are living in different realities, depending on what kind of news they surround themselves with. Here's the big difference. In the States, there have been so many overt cases of the media lying that more and more people have no choice but to confront the fact that we can't trust this. We're being lied to the point where it's like more than half the population in the US. That simply is not the case in most of Europe, not all of Europe, but most of Europe, where there has been nothing that is so egregious that people are forced to confront that this can't be true. Most has been in things that are like close to home. There hasn't been like anything really obvious overt lies. Most of what you have, I would say, is actually in American politics, where you get much the same kind of narrative that you get from the New York Times and CNBC. Difference is people in Europe aren't in America to see reality. They believe what they're being told. Like, for instance, in Norway, you know what we're being told in Norway right now? This is no joke. We are now being told Trump is going to come for us. He's going to take Svalbard if he doesn't get the Nobel Peace Prize. This is a complete fabricated narrative, but this is something that's being pushed. Yeah, I know.
You're too close to Greenland, Andre. You need to flee. Run for your life. I'm glad
Andre brought this up, because then I want to switch it back to get to how this actually went down, because I think that's even more important than any of the FCC talk or any of that stuff, because all that stuff doesn't really matter in the end, I don't think. But you were right, Andre, and I think the bigger problem I'm seeing now, and it's right all over X, you can go all over, go on to any of the media outlets, and their narrative is that Trump did this, right? Yeah. Completely ignoring the chain of events, which Pro, I think, will break down with some new details that you may have never heard before. But because I think the biggest problem here, and I think where Disney knows, and this is why I think that the left media is trying to push this onto Trump, and Disney knows they could have fucked up, and why they know that they're on a thin line with the FCC is because when they told Kimmel just apologize and all that kind of shit, he's like, no, I'm not going to apologize. And not only am I not going to apologize, I'm going to come out and clarify what I say or what I meant. And Pam Bondi, I just said that because we were talking about her, but Dana Walden told him flat out, well, if you do that, and in so many words, basically said you're fired. And now, it's not exactly what she said, but that's pretty much what she said.
Is this exchange true?
That's what we're hearing.
Well, I'll say this. It's coming from Deadline, this article. And what's interesting about the article is there are very, very few people who could know the details of a phone call for obvious reasons. Yet we've got it all right here in Deadline. So the question is, who's the leaker? Like, did Disney send this over to Deadline? If so, why? Did the Kimmel team give it to them? Was there somebody sitting in a closet somewhere?
I'll be honest with you. I think it's the Kimmel team, and I think they want support. You want to know why? Because yesterday they also dropped that story of what to clarify basically what Kimmel meant from Rolling Stone, and I think Deadline had one already. I wouldn't be surprised if THR and all the other outlets do. I almost guarantee you Kimmel's camp leaked to the press what he was going to say. Because if you read the article, they're trying to explain what he really meant, and it is some of the most fanciest dancing you've ever seen. Let me tell you what.
And you got to say too that Disney had to be absolutely in a corner. There was no other option here. Once the stations across America said we're not going to play this anymore, like we'll put the Andy Griffith Show on. We will do whatever else we have to. Beverly Hillbillies will come back. We cannot put him on the air with our market. People are enraged at this. Once that happened, Disney had no choice because you were looking at a 30 to 40% drop in ratings and revenue. Okay? Who made the call to Jimmy Kimmel? Dana Walden. Who is Dana Walden? She introduced Kamala Harris to her husband. She is best friends with Kamala Harris. They literally had no choice, or else this phone call would not happen.
What is the likelihood that Disney is also using this opportunity to reassess a bad contract with a losing celebrity?
I am so glad you asked that, Chris.
Yeah,
he was done at the end of this year.
Renegade. Go ahead.
Well, I was just saying, his contract ends in August. He's still under contract. I don't think they'll drop him from his contract. It doesn't do them any good. But he's on contract till August. He's already said in the past too that he thought this might be the end. It is.
Well, and they're losing just as much money basically as Colbert was, and we're going to get to Colbert here in just a minute. But I love Valiant Renegade.
I think all the night.
Yeah, they're all losing money. Fallon's the only one who might get lucky in this situation. It's because he's basically going to probably.
I think it went wrong when Fallon had to apologize for treating Trump like a human back in 2016. It's just been taking a dive ever since.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well,
and
Trump
I
hasn't
just
helped himself. Listen, this is a war of memes,
Yeah.
and let's say that most of the people, or many people on the right, have been trying to deal with this in some fair manner. We know the left are delusional to a large degree. You just have to listen to Rashid Tlaib and all the nut jobs that are over there.
The squad, you mean?
But unfortunately, I have been watching the war of memes, and he said, she said, they said it first,
they them said
they them said it first, whatever, back and forth. And Trump has not helped his side by being the prickly machine that he is, because the left have got a ton of posts from him that sound threatening.
Paul, I agree with you. As
It
somebody who
doesn't
even
help
voted
the
for him.
war.
I agree with you because I think he should have went into this whole thing acting like kill him with kindness. Is what I think he should have done. Done the absolute opposite of everything they expected him to do. And it kind of felt like that he was going to kind of do something like that at first. But I agree with you. Since he's been in office, there's a lot of stuff that he's been doing that I don't agree with. I don't like the way he carries himself on TV still. I feel like a lot of the things that he did to get in office, whoever it was that was helping him during his campaign, is no longer there in certain instances, or maybe gone altogether. So yeah, I do agree with a lot of what you're saying, and him even commenting on any of this stuff is just adding the fuel to their fire. You're 100%
everyone
right.
is just weaponizing the social media wars. That's what's happening. And then it's people posting, well, your person said this, your person said that. Oh, your person said it out of context. Here's the longer version. I don't really care. I'm moving on. One of the things that I keep asking people online, when I catch them out of a lie, I then come back and I say, are you going to repost your original lie because you don't care? And the answer is mostly yes.
The thing that annoys me the most is that, I mean, setting aside the specifics about the FCC and Trump and everything else, is the fact that Trump, the FCC, and so on even touched it allows the left a moral escape for their own failures.
I agree.
They get to run away from any self-reflection and place the blame somewhere else, and they have material with which to place it because they're being actively involved in the situation. That annoys me the most.
And I agree with you there, Scribe. And this is where I want to get it to what Valiant said, though, because the FCC doesn't really matter. Trump doesn't really matter. As Valiant eloquently puts here, and I'm going to just read it as verbatim. If the real problem was the FCC, then why pull Kimmel's entire show? Disney could have said, go out and apologize, and that would be that. And I think he posted this before we even knew about the apology situation, and we knew that was something now that Kimmel was not willing to do. He goes, this has happened on The View several times, in fact, and this is what I wanted to bring up to you too earlier, Scribe, about being responsible when you're on the airwaves. This is why The View has to take 5 minutes at the end of every show, because their lawyer said you can't say this, you can't say that, and you can't say this. Like, it's become a segment now on their show because of that.
Well, the other reason for that is because Disney, for a very silly reason, labels The View as a news program, and that puts it into a special category on network news.
And so just to kind of really clarify the big difference here is anything that's on cable, internet, satellite, through any kind of broadcast that's not over the air does not have to follow these rules and regulations, right? So we're not technically under those rules and regulations.
Can I ask Pro something?
Yeah.
I'm seeing one piece of this story that people aren't talking about is the concentration of stations under a couple of umbrellas like Sinclair and Nexstar. I know Sinclair is a conservative ownership.
Yes.
Very conservative, religious, actually. I don't know anything about Nexstar. I'm assuming they're kind of conservative also, because
they're center right. Yes.
Okay,
but not as right.
That's fine. The concern I have, and I use this example, is when Kirk kissed Uhura, and half the stations in the South didn't play it.
Right.
I don't know where we are on this, are we talking about station consolidation and control here, that maybe some regions actually didn't mind what Kimmel was doing? Now, notwithstanding that, all these conglomerates need to make money, and if on if on balance they're losing money because of what Kimmel has done, well, I think that's a fair corporate decision. But I am concerned about the concentration of ownership.
I'm with you, and I hear
Paul.
I hear the principle of it. And so what I initially think about is the ethic of it all, right? So there's a categorical ethical difference in what's happening here versus what happened with Star Trek back in the 60s. So in one way, you've got the issue of what do you do when there is an act on TV which is culturally abrasive to a particular geographic region? And in that case, I usually would not say that you should censor that, because I think that censoring that actually leaves people into a place where we have balkanized values, and I think people should be mature enough to handle things that might be offensive to them.
Sure.
Now, obviously, there are economic issues at play there. I don't want to go too deep in the weeds, because I don't think we have to. Because in this case, what we have here would be, if we go back to the 60s, again, it would be akin to after Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated. It would be like if somebody in a late night show came out and said it was a black man who did it. It's so atrociously untrue and bad, and the man's not even been buried yet. His family is still grieving, and it's essentially a way to blame the victim. It's a way to say it's actually your followers who did this to you, when it's obviously not true. And you, by the way, because they're your followers, you're the one who caused this to happen to you. And that's so atrociously bad. So
I see your point.
That's what I think is happening here.
Yeah, well, he would have been better off saying we mourn his death, end it. Like, don't say.
Yeah, it's really not. It's not a thing to laugh about.
No,
it shouldn't even be on their plate.
The guy that
right
came
now.
out on his show crying when Trump was reelected.
Yeah,
crying. It was almost as bad as the SNL when Hillary.
And guys, here's the deal. Here's the deal, real quick. These guys are not being canceled. Jimmy Kimmel. No. Nobody's saying that he's going to be taken off social media. This was the game of and I hate to use the word left, because the classical liberals that used to be on the left got kicked out of the club. And I don't like calling, this is not the left. These people are authoritarian postmodernists. They wanted, so they believe in full banishment. Nobody wants Jimmy Kimmel banished. He will continue to live in a giant home. His kids will continue to have every possible benefit of society. He has all the privilege while he talks about being against privilege. He will have every privilege you can imagine. And Jimmy Kimmel and Stephen Colbert can go to a land called MS Now. They can go to CNN, and they can do this. And if they get the ratings, they will be rewarded by the market. This is not the same as when they dance on the media graves of people that they despise, and they try in every way to prevent them from having any platform anywhere ever again. Go to MS Now, Jimmy. Go to CNN. Go do it. Well, I wish you well over there.
On that note, I was going to finish Valiant's X tweet here, whatever you want to call it, so you can kind of get into a little bit of the weeds of what probably happened here, most likely, and from what we gather from the evidence so far. And again, it has nothing to do with Trump. And I agree with you, Pro. It has nothing to do with Trump. And it has everything to do with Kimmel's doing it to himself. He's literally become that meme where he's shooting himself and saying, why would I do this to why would Trump do this to me? Right? Like, because that's kind of what's going on right now, is he's trying to make Trump the bad guy, when basically Disney said, whoa, we're not firing you, but we just need to chill the fuck out here right now, because what you said could get us in a lot of fucking trouble. And then all of a sudden, a bunch of other channels from, owned by Nexstar and Sinclair were saying, well, we're not going to fucking run this shit, so you guys need to figure your shit out. And once bigger channels started pulling out, because make no mistake about it, Nexstar owns 3 channels in New York alone. So right there, that's a huge fucking market. And once they pulled out, I bet you the bigger sponsors pulled out. And once the bigger sponsors pulled out, that's when ABC and Sinclair are like, okay, yeah, we have no choice here. And even Sinclair was thinking the same thing from what we heard. They were just waiting for somebody else to make a move, because this is, I guess, something that was kind of bubbling in the background. So it had nothing to do with Trump, but it had all to do with sponsors and other stations saying, we can't rerunning this shit anymore. It's getting too
I think
divisive,
that
and it goes to
was-
this whole thing where the coast doesn't understand that there's more than just fucking California.
Well, several months ago, maybe even 6 months ago, a very large station in Florida that was an ABC affiliate pulled out because they got tired of Disney and ABC just on their own.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. This might be something that's been brewing for a while, and Jimmy Kimmel's statement was just the final straw. But anyway, I'm going to finish this point because this makes a great point. Because if it was about anything other than the money, I don't think that this would be even a problem. Because like Valiant points out here, you can put Jimmy anywhere. They haven't put him on Hulu as an exclusive. No FCC there, no local broadcast affiliates either. Come on, Disney, tell us the truth. They could even put him on ESPN or any number of their other cable stations, FX.
Right.
What is stopping them?
They put him on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire for the summer, and he got 1/5 of the ratings of Regis Philbin, and then he got an award on the Emmys for it. You know,
and that was after Phil died. Philbin died. That's the problem. And at the end of the quote here, just to finish it up, this I think wraps it up real nice. You were losing your ass on Jimmy Kimmel, and Sinclair and Nexstar just gave you the perfect get out of jail free card, and they're just turning it around on Trump because they can. And and you guys are right, because Trump went and put his self into this. So did Carr. So had they just kept their mouths shut, then and did what they were going to do in the background, that's fine. But I agree with you. I don't think Trump has as much to do with this as the media is putting out there.
This is all part of a bigger picture where what's interesting is the confluence where I would suggest to you that that wonderful group of 1,200 stars who signed the pro-Hamas pledge are the same people who are fighting for Jimmy Kimmel.
well, and I also want to say this too, and you're right, Paul, but what we're doing today is we're giving the legacy media a credence that they may not deserve. And the reason I say that is Tim Pool was bringing this out that Jimmy Kimmel has like 120,000 viewers on average in the demo.
Right.
Okay? Listen, there are hundreds at least YouTube channels that outperform Jimmy Kimmel. The only reason that he has a signal that we pay attention to is because he's part of a legacy media that has been vanquished. And we have not yet fully realized that the 100+ YouTube personalities or TikTok personalities or Instagram personalities, that they're actually more relevant than he is. We're paying attention to him because of the theater in which he inhabits.
Right.
But the habit has moved on. We're gone from late night TV because of him.
It's an interesting point you've made, and I've actually been thinking about it recently with the slow death of network television when they were constantly on the ball, bringing shows in, canceling them maybe too quickly. But now there's this weird inertia in network TV where they just don't seem to care.
Right.
Where they're willing to hold on to 3 late night shows, maybe more, that aren't making them any money. And maybe, they're making enough money someplace else. And, we don't want to replace them with something better because we just aren't interested and we don't have the time. I am really concerned about this ennui that has this cloud that has descended on network TV where they just don't seem to care about anything anymore.
But you know who wins, Paul? Jimmy Fallon and NBC, and they've been rather quiet.
That's what I was trying to say. Yeah.
Sure.
Jimmy Fallon just inherited half the pizza, and Gutfeld gets the other half.
Yeah.
Jimmy Fallon's ratings should explode if he plays this correctly. Yeah, for a little while longer.
Yeah.
No, I know that, but it's just now a big nothing. Like no one even talks about him anymore.
You think
It's
about
funny you mentioned that.
before you go there.
Before we
I just
get
want
there.
to say this real quick. Jimmy Kimmel has been doing this show for 22 years.
Yeah.
And we still talk about his predecessors more.
Exactly. He's having, and the last couple of years have been the worst viewership he's ever had.
And my point is,
did he have any? Because ABC didn't even have a late show till him, I thought.
Well, I was just talking about the genre in general.
Oh,
They've
okay.
had Dick Cavett and Joey Bishop.
True,
And my
true,
point
okay.
is that back in the heyday when networks were rapacious in terms of managing audiences,
It was Bill Maher.
expectations, and making money, Joey Bishop went up against Carson, failed, he was gone. Like, they don't seem to be running a business. They seem to be running some kind of weird sandlot for useless individuals.
It was Bill Maher actually had that time slot for politically
Yeah, for many
incorrect.
years. That's
And then
right,
he got
yeah.
canceled because he said something inartful, I guess is a charitable way to put it, about 9/11.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was a good joke, though.
Yeah. And then we got
And
Paulie
he was
joining
on
us in the
for, I
background.
think, almost 10 years.
Hey, Polly.
Well, he's technically still on because he considers his new show basically an extension of. But
Oh, sure.
that being said, even though he's technically fired, Colbert did a doozy last night, did he not, Pro, off of this? And then we'll get back into the whole chain of events as well.
Yeah, so
because-
out of thatparkplace.com, if you're not yet bookmarked to it, well, you should be. Stephen Colbert just enraged CBS station owners with his support of Jimmy Kimmel comments. Will they drop him too? Guys, what, and I presume and I assume that Colbert knew this, or at least somebody in leadership knew this. And I can't imagine that Paramount Skydance was happy about it because they own CBS, right? So Colbert came out last night and said, we are Jimmy Kimmel, whatever, okay? And I agree, he is Jimmy Kimmel because he also has a show that's ending. But what was amazing that he did, and not in a good way, is that he replayed what Jimmy Kimmel said in full and then agreed with it. Now, here's why that was such a problem.
Wow.
It's a problem because it turns out that the same affiliate companies, these big conglomerations, Sinclair and Nexstar, these same companies that own ABC stations, they also own CBS stations.
Yeah. Thank you, Bill Clinton.
And they're not happy. Well, that's a great point. They're not happy that that clip was replayed and reaffirmed on another station. They're not happy about it at all. And so now the question is, what are they going to do with Colbert? He's already on the way out. They may say, you know what? Just wind the clock down on him. Or they may say, we'll go to somewhere else anyway, and we don't have to have Stephen or Jimmy in our lives.
I mean, honestly, whatever happens to Jimmy should happen to Steven then, I guess, for replaying it.
Replayed the clip. And by the way, the clip's in the article, but I would not recommend Tom or Andre playing it because every time I play a Stephen Colbert clip, they ding me. So
Yeah, CBS is a bunch of jerks.
Really?
But,
oh yeah.
yeah.
What's going on,
But no,
WD?
Hey, Polly,
Hey, how you doing?
the
yeah, so
man of the hat.
So at the end of the day, I think what a lot of this had to do was more so with the channels pulling out because of sponsors and other things like that. And then, like we said, Disney told Jimmy, just put an apology out and calm down and we'll get past this. And he's like, no, I'm going to try and clarify what I meant. And I think that we have an idea of what he was going to say. And what's hilarious about it is he was basically going to throw Meg under the bus again. So did you guys see this? Did anybody else, the Rolling Stone or the
I saw it. Yep.
Hollywood Reporter, I think it was?
Yeah. And it's interesting how when they report it, they really parse it a little bit. But I mean, you can just see that he was going to come out. He was going to double down. He was going to try to explain how people took his quote the wrong way and try to parse it. He was not going to apologize to anyone whose fees were hurt.
And as somebody who's been in similar positions before, let me tell you something. In this case, Dana Walden was right, Jimmy. You should just sit down and shut the fuck up.
Yep.
But no, instead, I think his folks leaked this shit to the press. And honestly, if I was Disney, I would take this as him doing it.
Do you
and I
think
would shit
he
can
leaked
him,
the
but they
Disney
won't.
call to the press, or do you think Disney leaked?
No, I
it
think
to the
Kimmel
press?
made the call to the press because this is where if I was Dana Walden and Bob Iger right now, I'd be like, motherfucker, we told you not to do this.
Well, Tom,
And now
did you
you've done
see?
it.
And I don't want to get into conspiracy, and I want to get into stuff that we don't know. So
Right,
we'll put this
true.
out there as strong speculation.
Strong speculation, yes.
But there's photos out there that are all over the internet that do appear to show them loading up the furniture and the set pieces and carrying it out of the theater. So I don't know if that's real. I don't know what's going on. For all
Yes.
I know, it was scheduled to have the seats redone and new ones go in. I don't know, but it sure is interesting to see all those moving
So,
trucks there.
You know what I think?
A little LA.
Holly knows some stuff.
No,
Yeah,
just a
go
really quick, just a little like geography of that building. That's a private back, end of the Capitan. It goes right into the alley there. That's not for the public parking lot, it's for the stars back, production stuff. So yeah, that's them packing up, guys.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
I know,
because
I know
think-
that area very well. That's all I want to say.
I think that I think Valiant Renegade is entirely right. I think all of the stuff with the FCC, everything like that, all that meant was that someone had to apologize and not double down. It would have been fine. If they really wanted Kimmel, they could just have moved him to Disney Plus or Hulu or whatever. Would have been no problem. He could have said whatever he wants, but he is costing them a fortune, just like Colbert. And here was the perfect opportunity to get rid of him and make it look like Trump was doing it, thereby actually score a political point on it. Because Iger, he's a member of the Democrat Party. He is up there. He goes to all their parties, everything like that. Here is a great way of doing this in a way that saves them money and makes Trump look like the villain that they can use right now in the media, and later on when they get back into the White House, then they actually can abuse the FCC and claim that you did it first. So win. Mm-hmm. And then I agree completely with Tom that the person that leaked this was, if not Kimmel himself, it was absolutely Team Kimmel who is pissed at Disney. Disney did not want Deadline Hollywood to run this story about that it was actually Bob Iger's call, because what are we seeing right now? And I'm sure that that Pro can speak even more to this, because we now have stories of everyone in Hollywood, especially the liberal base, they're turning on Disney. Again, referencing back to Tatiana Maslany, who is now pissed and says that I'm not going to be She-Hulk anymore until you bring back Jimmy Kimmel. That tells me that you weren't going to be She-Hulk in the first place.
Yeah, and you had, what is it, Lindelof? Is that the guy who worked on the Ray movie and failed?
I put that up there too,
Yeah, and he's saying, I'm never going to do work with you, Disney, again. It's like, yeah, okay.
You weren't working with Disney. In fact, Scripps told us last night what he was up to, and it ain't anywhere near Disney.
Yeah,
so he's just basically gaslighting at that point, or whatever you want to call it. But no, speaking of gaslighting, this whole article is nothing but gaslighting. And Pearl, we are sadly losing you here in a short period of time. You got to go. So I really would hope that you could take the lead on this, because I'm sure you've read this article in the Rolling Stone one. So what is it that supposedly Jimmy said? What is their explanation here, and what's your take on it real quick?
Well, so I'll just say this. When it comes to the legacy media and the Hollywood trades, so first of all, from the Hollywood trade side of this, the Hollywood trades try to set the official narrative. And it seems to me that they've gone somewhat rogue from Disney, which is interesting. That may be because they're trying to curry favor with the celebrities. I don't know. But whenever a publication tells you there's a video and you can go watch the whole thing, but here's what you should believe about it, that's when you should get very nervous about being propagandized, because if you can go watch the video and yet somebody tells you you're too dumb to understand the video, unless we're talking about like PhD quantum physics or something, this is not difficult. The man came out and said it. You can go read the quote. It doesn't require a high level. You don't need a dissertation. You don't need somebody to walk you through the grammar of it. It's not complicated. This is a guy who came out and said it was his supporter that deleted him in front of his wife and children and put everybody in danger. This is his supporter, and that is factually untrue. And it's not just factually untrue, it is as far opposite of the truth as you can go. So it's an anti-truth is what we call that. And so you have
disinformation is another word for it. It's actual disinformation.
So you have a Hollywood trade trying to set the narrative. The Rolling Stone is garbage. The Rolling Stone is basically, they're TMZ. Honestly, whenever we have to look at a Rolling Stone article, we should now hold our nose, because we all know they're not there to report any kind of truth. They're not there to expose any kind of information you need to know. They are there for power. They are a power broker. They are a narrative power broker for a particular political persuasion, an ideology. That's it. Narrative power broker, Rolling Stone. So, folks, if you want to know what Jimmy Kimmel said, go watch it. Watch it 5 times. If you can't figure it out, watch it again till you get it. Go look at the quote. Dissect it yourself. You don't need the Hollywood Reporter. You don't need the Rolling Stone to explain it to you. You have a high enough IQ, and frankly, you're 10 times smarter than whoever's writing these articles.
Hey, Pro, you're going to be with us
a campaign of them lying to people, like saying there's nothing there. There was no lie there. You hear it over and over and over again, because at the end of the day, we are dealing with dishonest people.
That's right. I can extend, Paul, you were asking if I could be on a little bit longer. I can extend for about 3 minutes. I've got another appointment that I can't move. What's up, Paulie?
Well, hey, Andre and Tom, I have a question for the panel, but I'd love Pro to answer first, if that's cool.
Yeah, go for it.
And it's almost like a statement question. I think Kimmel's doing all this on purpose at this point. He's been a vet of this business for decades. I think he's just trying to save his shitty ass legacy. He's a smart guy, and for him. So my question is, do you agree with that at some point? Do you think that after Disney said, hey, you got to go and apologize and you get your show back, he knew exactly what he was doing, bro? What are your thoughts?
I think that Jimmy Kimmel knows that his contract is unlikely to be renewed at the end. We've got many quotes from him over the past few years where he recognizes he's probably not going to be there any longer. So he was on the clock. And he also knows that Stephen Colbert took up all the oxygen, and fine with that. But I think that if you're Jimmy Kimmel, there's a real possibility that if you're going to quietly ride off into the sunset, that's not as exciting as being a media martyr for the cause that he clearly so dearly believes in. I'll give you this one final reference to that as I get ready to head out. It was just maybe a month ago that we found out that for Jimmy Kimmel's vacation that they gave him, not this one, but the one that was official, like he gets 3 weeks off in the summer. For Jimmy Kimmel's vacation, he and his wife went to Wyoming. They went to Jackson Hole, Wyoming on their vacation. And on that vacation, do you think they went horseback riding? Do you think they did they go take a dip in the lakes and the beautiful scenery? Did they go enjoy and imbibe at the local taverns? No, what they did is in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, they're so audacious that on their vacation, they went to the town square and they joined in a tiny protest of President Trump with their kids. And then when they went and did this with a brace of signs and their kids holding the signs, people, of course, responded harshly to them because of what they were holding in their hands and what they were protesting. And Jimmy Kimmel and his wife essentially used their own kids as human shields. They put their kids between them and people who hurled insults and said, get out of here, go back to Hollywood, all that. They put their kids in between them and those individuals. And there's pictures of it. I've had it on my channel before. That's who Jimmy Kimmel is. People have said he's a good father. I'm not going to weigh in on that necessarily. I can just tell you, I think it's deranged that on your time off to spend time with your family when you're as busy as he must be, that's what they chose to do. They're obsessed with something. And I think he's better obsessed with it somewhere other than a TV network. Guys, I got to run. Thank you for the time. Always a joy with everybody on this panel. Love you guys, and I can't wait for the time change. I know Paul's not going to enjoy it so much, but you guys are going to rock. You guys are going to rock with that new time change. It's going to be fantastic.
Before you go, are you going to do a show on how MAGA killed Robert Redford?
That might get a few clicks.
Breaking news.
If they can find an angle, and Dark King says that you look like Stuttering Craig drinking tea. Well,
there's coffee. I promise you it's coffee. I'm not a tea guy.
You can see that because you can't even see any of his face whatsoever. Like it's just glasses and a cup.
That's right. Well, Tom and I have spent some time together, and so have I and Paul, and
that's exactly
Chris
what you
has been
look
there.
like.
Yeah, and I'm a coffee guy. I'll just tell you, I am. If I don't have coffee in my hand, something has gone wrong in my day.
Are you sure you're not done being thirsty now? Because you can put the cup down anytime, Pro, and you're like, no, I'm fine. I'm fine. I just want to leave the cup here.
Don't tell them I'm always thirsty. All right, guys, later.
Hey,
he is always thirsty.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for being
I
here.
bet you can take this to the bank that Kimmel's doing the next Oscars.
No,
2026. Yeah.
I don't think so.
I don't know about that.
I would be shocked.
If he loses his job, Hollywood is going to embrace him as the folk hero they didn't know they needed.
But real quick,
I think. Yeah, sorry. Carry on, Tom.
No. Go ahead and finish your point, because then
I
just say, let's
think
get into
that
this article.
Hollywood is far more likely to celebrate him as a martyr. At the same time, they know that, yeah, this one, he's good and he's ideologically pure, and there's no money in him. He costs too much, so we're just going to celebrate him from a distance, but we're not actually going to hire him and pay him.
I don't know. I'd wager a membership for that one.
Well, aren't the Oscars broadcast on ABC? They're
Well,
not
they'll
going
get Colbert to come out dressed as Jimmy Kimmel.
There you go.
What does Don Imus have to say about all this? You know, CBS fired him because he called a basketball team nappy-headed hose or something.
Actually, he didn't get to weigh in on it because he appeared on Jerry Springer. No, not Jerry Springer, but the modern-day equivalent of it, Piers Morgan Uncensored, and the two of them just got into it over a question that Lemon thought that he wasn't going to be asked, so he was very butthurt over this.
Lemon is terrible.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah,
he's well named. But okay, so I love this headline. Jimmy Kimmel did not say exactly what you think he said.
And what's the let's hear the interpretation.
But no, let's interpret this title at first. So basically this title is saying that he said exactly what you think he said. I'm not an English major, but yeah, it's the way they're trying to play with words.
I play one in a TV show.
Yeah.
So yeah,
he didn't say exactly what you think he said, but pretty much.
Yeah.
There's like one word difference. Didn't really materially change anything. That's what that headline is saying.
So Hollywood Reporter explains it here as part of the sentence, because they try to break it all down. This is so blurry that your eyes cross trying to get to it. Sure. No, it's not. It's not that difficult, Hollywood Reporter, but thanks for trying to confuse people. Kimmel doesn't actually say this kid is one of them. Okay. You could read it in a different way. He also didn't say milk is white and the sky is blue, but guess what? He did say that this kid basically is MAGA in a certain way, regardless of how you want to word it. You can play word games.
Yeah, that's some grade A gaslighting right there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's partially about it. See, this is the other thing that they're trying to dance around too and not get into is it's also about interpretation, right? Like let's talk about the Streisand effect for a moment. It doesn't matter if it's true. Like that's the whole point, is it is an untruth that spreads, right? Like that's the point. Like that's why it's considered a problem, especially when you're somebody who has an FCC license and is out there broadcasting on the air. You have a responsibility.
Yeah,
see, and that's where sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm just going to add to what you were saying, that this absolutely can be found to fall in under the hoax paragraph. Let's just call it that.
Yeah, so he goes, hey, we all know this kid is MAGA, and now MAGA is out there trying to convince everybody he isn't. That was admittedly the whole vibe and how I took it. Yet its clunky wording make this line into a Rorschach test. No, it doesn't. The more you look at it, there is some element of presumption, a bit of connective tissue formed in the mind of the reader, which converts it from the exact words he said into the inflammatory conclusion that it's been Scribe, help me with this fucking bullshit.
I just love how now all of a sudden we are breaking down statements into their individual components, whereas good people on both sides has been let to sit for the last 6 or 7 years. It's like everybody, okay, you could try to parse some kind of ambiguity in what Kimmel said if you look at it flat and not in the moment and not in the context of the time that he was saying it in. We know what he meant. We know what he was saying. When I first saw, I gotta say one thing though. When I first saw the clip, like the earliest that I saw it posted, my first thought was, well, when was this taped? Because there was a very brief period of time where there was lots of manufactured disinformation out there with like the kid with a MAGA shirt on and like a donation record that had his same name on it and all this other stuff. So did the writers of his monologue latch on to that very brief, 7 or 8 hour period of time where there was some uncertainty as to what the shooter's allegiances were? Was that the problem? It was just a matter of timing. But now I'm told that no, it was fairly well reported otherwise by the time that went on.
No, this wasn't Monday last week. This was Monday this week.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, yeah, I was a little I was willing to extend the benefit of the doubt when I first saw it, because it was like it all depends on the timing, but otherwise, like, yeah, now you're far in the field. But yeah, so yeah, it's interesting watching them trying to parse this out, and yet we're still dealing with misquoted Trump things from 7 years
I
ago.
would also submit that even if it had been taped in the moment when we didn't know, it was aired at the time when we did know, and that means that even if it had been taped before, that is so egregious that something that is broadcasting on the mercy of the FCC, they couldn't in good conscience broadcast that segment. They would have to stop the show and fix it or remove that bit. Otherwise, they couldn't have aired it. If that was the case.
And the weird place that we're in is that you've got people who are running defense for this kind of thing, but who personally probably agree with the sentiment.
Yeah.
In the same way, there are people who are running defense for October 7th, saying, "Oh, it didn't happen," or "Oh, no, this is exaggerated. It's a Mossad affectation," but deep down inside, actually are happy that it happened. So it's this weird thing that's going on: is that the perpetrators of this are happy that and agree with the original post, but at the same time are trying to find a way to make it disappear. It's so weird.
It's
they're
just the
trying to do
pragmatic.
that not only the original wording, but they're also trying to make the fact that this assassin was dating a transgender person because of the very same thing. It just does not apply to the narrative. I don't know if anybody else caught the comments made recently by Rainn Wilson, Mark Ruffalo, or Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh yes,
There've been very, very many people of that ilk that are handling it, I think, with a little bit of class, which surprised
Jamie Lee
me.
Curtis.
Yep, Jamie Lee Curtis, Deborah Messing was another one.
Celebrities that you don't expect.
Celebrities that don't agree with Charlie Kirk.
But they're at least being human about it.
Exactly.
Yeah. The old adage: if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all.
That's the table stakes here. That's really the table stakes.
The best people could say
saying,
is. Oh, sorry.
Well, just if you'll let me say this, everyone is saying there's nothing wrong with people's free speech or whatever, and I'm just like, we don't want to cancel people. We just don't want you being ghoulish.
Yes.
While the body's still warm, please just don't say a word. You don't have to publicly come out on Facebook and dance because a man's had his head blown off or his neck blown off or whatever. It's just, especially if you are an influential person. I don't care about randos that nobody knows, but if you're some sort of celebrity, you should really just keep that to yourself. And I don't know when people stopped understanding that, but it's really baffling.
Well, Andre wanted to add to that, and then Scribe wanted to say something too. We got to let Scribe finish. Sorry, I just wanted.
Yeah, Scribe, go ahead.
Oh, well, I was originally going to respond to Paul in the reaction. It's the pragmatic hypocrisy of the market. It's like, regardless of what your personal feelings are, if you don't do this thing, the FCC will come down on you. You lose ratings. It's bad press, and so on. So that's the people that may agree with it privately are still acting counter to that because they have, the interests beyond themselves, shareholders and everything else. And I've lost my train of thought for the other thing. So go ahead.
Sorry, Scribe.
All I was going to add to that was actually I appreciate those that do let the mask come off and show who they really are, show the world. It's really distasteful, but I would rather see the people who are absolute demons, especially if they're in the public space, teachers, something like that, and they are this ghoulish and they are that far gone. I want to know it so that everyone can see, and anyone who feels any kind of sympathies to that direction as well can see, oh my God, is that what I'm becoming? Because that, I think, is important. That is important for the healing, just to see how bad things can get, and then step back from that. And also, if you can't step back, then maybe one needs to assess if this or that individual really have the mental acuity to be in the position where they are. And as we've seen a lot of these last week and a half now, there's a lot of people, more than 1,000 by my count, regular people that have lost their jobs as teachers, nurses, politicians in my neck of the woods, because they simply do not have the mental acuity or the attitudes that are necessary for their office. And we know that because they revealed it to the world.
Well, it's a professionalism thing, right? Like,
yeah,
it's not even about freedom of speech, because they have every right in the world to act like complete and fucking idiots, right? Like, I agree with Andre. That's what part of freedom of speech is. You have the right to go out there and say some ghoulish shit about Charlie Kirk. You absolutely do. And we also have the right to think you're an absolute piece of shit for doing it.
Yeah, more
that's the beauty of it.
We have the right to now recognize the fact that you are entitled to say that. That is perfectly fine. You should do that, because now we see who you are, and who you are in some cases cannot be in the position that you are.
Can I say something? What's changed here in town?
Go for it. Love to hear it.
We're no longer silent.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
It's a great thing.
Who is
because
who is not being silent? I guess is a better question.
So the talent creatives that working around the business that are liberal but maybe voted the other way because of what they saw the last 4 years, 5 years, and they had to keep their mouths shut for so long just to save their job, so to speak, their career, their livelihood, thinking about their mortgage, etc., etc. Conversations are happening now where someone says something off key like, "Oh, I'm glad he's dead." I have no problem saying, "Are you out of your fucking mind?"
Mm-hmm.
And let's have a conversation, because you brought it up, and I will not be quiet about it, because that's how we got here, was this problem, right? And so I just ran it. I ran it down since Obama. Look, boom, 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 boom. Where's the cries of fascism, of we lost democracy? Where was it then, man? Where was it then? This isn't just this happened overnight. So that has changed, and that is really important, because you can't let gatekeepers keep staying there, man, like they have all this fucking power, or just say, "Yo, Vato," it's like, hey, let's compromise, because then both sides won't be completely happy, but we're having conversation, and you have to listen to me. You have to listen to people. So I'm seeing that more and more.
The thing I would caution everybody is that for all the positive stuff that may be coming out about this, even if it's sort of grim necessity, be wary of those who take advantage of this. There are plenty of people, and I'm not comparing the individuals, just comparing the circumstances or the scenarios. I can't count how many people used the death of George Floyd as some kind of a detached justification for their pet project, their initiative to do something that was either completely irrelevant or actively harmful to people and civil rights and so on. So in all the good that can come out of this, for whatever it is, just be wary of those who will take advantage of it for their own ends.
Oh, I agree with you, Scribe, and it's a big thing you got to worry about, because here's the problem with the tit for tat, he said, she said, they, them said bullshit, or, they did this, so we can do this kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It goes, we can go back and forth all day long on some things, especially if there was somebody on the panel who was extremely left, let's say. But I think that the debate has kind of been silenced when they turned around and decided to permanently silence Charlie Kirk. See, that's the biggest problem we have there. There's nothing right now, unfortunately, that for a lot of folks the right could do to the left that they're going to say fuck all to, because at this point one of theirs has been killed, right? Like, that's the thing. It's like that's the line, like, because I've seen the right, and I said this on a few shows where I'm like, I really hope that there is some change, but I've also seen the right just kind of turn away and not do anything about it, because they don't want to fuck up the status quo, or they don't want to cause any kind of disturbance in their family life, right? Which I totally respect and understand. But that therein lies the problem, because now here's your tit for tat, right? So the answer to Charlie Kirk was to take Jimmy Kimmel off the air. Even the left isn't seeing that for what it really is. It's like, look, we just took one of your guys down, you know, because of something stupid he said that he shouldn't have said on the air, and we took him down in a way that he's still alive, right? Like, I think that's the point I think that the right is trying to make, but it will go completely over their fucking heads. And I agree with you, because then when it comes back around again, they're going to come back with a fucking vengeance.
Yeah.
Right.
Tom, can I just clarify one
Please.
thing? It's not going over their head. They're pretending it goes over
the
their head.
cognitive dissonance, or however you want to say
it's
it.
about it's manipulation. They know, but they use it to manipulate and to do something worse later on, as the sheer evil people that they are.
But see, you know, they're
And
trying
what reminds
to
me of this, real quick, I just
their-
want to say, what reminds me of this was Roseanne versus James Gunn. Who's got a job still? Sorry, go ahead,
Yeah.
Paul.
No, man. And then there's the goofballs from the unions that are trying to make Kimmel they're trying to canonize him, and let's go and protest in front of Disney. You know, a couple hundred people. You know what, guys? Go back to your waiter jobs. Y'all ain't working anyways. Shut the fuck up. You voted for the worst leadership in your union, so go deal with that. Because Kimmel doesn't give a shit about you. If he did, he wouldn't have said you. He would have apologized so he can still have those writers hired, right? Think of the hundreds of people that he let down again because this guy's so full of himself. You know, he always was a low back in the 90s when he was doing radio here, just a fucking low rent Howard Stern, straight up watered down, washed down. He wasn't even that good. It was all about Corolla, right? Then they got the Man Show. Man, this guy pisses me off. I'm sorry.
How do we go after John Oliver next? That might.
Oh, jeez.
No, but Paulie, I'm glad you thought of that, because that's something people aren't even bringing up yet.
Yeah.
Like we kind of got to with the whole thing with the DC thing, where, you know, they canceled that book. Which, yeah, it's great that them isn't going to get their book now, and they got fired from DC. But now, what about all the other artists and stuff now that lost their fucking job? Hopefully, they got paid up front too. Same thing here. What about all the people that are losing their job? Now, granted, a lot of the people that are losing their jobs are the same ones that wrote this fucking quote unquote joke to begin with.
But it's not. It's not
just them. You're right. It's other
right.
people
It's
too.
Like at the most, it's maybe 10, 12 writers, then like 100 staff, crew, camera operators. You don't know what their politics are. You know what their politics are? Feeding their families, showing up to work, kicking ass, making shit look good, and then packing it up, and then boom, long hours, come back the next day. That's their politics, man. And again, you know, homeboy didn't even. They said, oh, he gave a couple bucks out and paid some people during the union strike a couple of years ago. That motherfucker didn't do that. This guy's at what, $10-15 million a year? You know, it's like, yeah,
More than that, I thought, but yeah,
we back you up to go do your union, but we ain't gonna pay you. We're not gonna take anything out of my pocket.
Well, your timing is actually pretty good, because Six just found this and sent it to me.
Yeah.
Here's footage of stuff being moved out of the back.
Yeah.
So, kids, I wonder if some of our speculation hasn't come to be true, and that Disney and Kimmel have kind of met at a crossroads here.
Put a pause here, guys. You know, think of the vendors they rent, right? And I'm not even talking about like the vendors such as these truck companies, the catering, the buses. That's east. I'm looking north on the street. That is a little side street that's easy to get to. Look, it's closed up. It's, you know, which is cool. You need to have that. That's why they do events there and shit. But this is infuriating, man. All because, you know, homie wouldn't apologize, or maybe he just wants out. It's like, this is my way out.
And all of this, I made this point yesterday, I think to Paul on Twitter. I said, and all of this is trounced by a couple of guys in a broom closet with a pair of microphones.
Yeah.
As far as just like entertainment or variety show or anything else. So go ahead. Yeah, no, it just I kind of feel like it's the end of an era in a way. I never liked Kimmel or these guys. I did have an appreciation because I grew up, you know, with Carson and Letterman and all that stuff. That there was a sort of grandeur to the whole late night variety show kind of thing. There was a sense of legacy and continuity of culture in a way, and to see it like die on the vine like this is really
they're
just
not seeing
sad.
it that way. See, if you're in the Hollywood bubble and this joke has been in existence for a long time, someone made a map of Los Angeles, which was almost the entire map, and then the rest of the United States was this tiny sliver on the right-hand side of the map. And that has been there for an awful long time, especially in TV. And I remember when CBS was embarrassed by the success of the Beverly Hillbillies. Because it didn't fit the image that they wanted, or the image that they wanted in Hollywood. But you've got to remember that no matter what you think about Jimmy Kimmel, up until this moment, and maybe for a few weeks still, he could walk into any big restaurant in LA and he would be feted, right?
Oh, sure.
I mean, this is, you don't think so, Paulie?
You muted.
You muted, Paulie.
I don't know where you're going with this, Chato. Listen,
I'm going that Hollywood loves him.
But that's just celebrity, the culture of celebrity in
yes.
Hollywood. Anyways. They don't go to places.
Celebrity is the business of celebrity in Hollywood.
So what's your point? Like, what's the point?
My point is that he's in a bubble in the same way that anybody in any group is in a bubble, and but
he's also a businessman. They're also listen. They know the trends. They know that you guys are bigger than them. Fuck that. They know that sooner or later, which is happening, Chato, that these artists, that these A-name celebrities, they're going to start going to your shows, Chato, to get interviewed, going to midnight sets. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know.
Their shit is dying, and this is just a last gasp. That's why you're seeing more. That's why you're seeing Bill Maher do that. I was like, whoa, he's trying to be Rogan.
Yep.
But I think what I think Paul is trying to say is that Kimmel still is in a place in a world where he doesn't see where he's doing something wrong here. And the way that a lot of the celebrities are getting behind him, it's just helping him feel like he's being justified. And he could still walk into any restaurant. I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, Paul, I think this is what you're trying to get at, and still get, praised out the ass, and nobody would say anything to him probably in public.
Well, to his face.
To his face, exactly. Yeah, I think that's what you were getting at, right?
To a certain point, right? But the flip side is that these guys have been losing their ratings for years. This is not overnight. He's a smart dude. They haven't, and especially in that demographic 18 to 34, they are losers. They're all losers. Who was talking about any of these people besides celebrities and their PR people up until now? I'd forgotten about these idiots. Give me back Craig Ferguson.
Yes.
I mean, yes, Chato. Hollywood's a bubble.
I think Ferguson left on his own accord. So, just to remember that, he probably don't want to come back.
Yeah, I want him back. No, you're right. Of course, it's a bubble within a bubble, but Kimmel also is a businessman. He knows his ratings. They know all this shit. That's the reality.
And doesn't he have something like 20 million followers on YouTube?
Kimmel?
Botted, probably.
I thought he had a fairly massive YouTube subscriber base.
Yeah,
yes, he does have
you saw what they did during the lockdown, where they didn't have an audience or writers or anything. Yeah, Kimmel could not survive on YouTube on his own.
He does have 20 million subs, but at least somewhere in the region of what's the
viewership on his
of
videos?
Them are probably bots.
Yeah, what's the viewership on the videos posted though? That's always the metric. It's
I don't know.
20 million subs, but 50,000 views.
But it's like Brie Larson when she went on YouTube, guys. Yeah, it's a fucking joke, right?
Yeah, none of those celebrities.
There's at least a little Tom. There's at least a little bit of authenticity and some respect personally that I have for Bill Maher, him trying to do his thing and bring it. He actually had Kirk on that.
Yes, he did.
Kirk, Club Random.
So, I'm just saying, Chato, yes, restaurants, blowing hot air. Oh, yeah, we're with you. We stand with you. People taking pictures, people posting all that. You could post till you're blue in the face. It doesn't mean shit. Yeah,
Well,
all these millions of people that are posting, and I stand with. Where were you do you stand watching them? Obviously, you can't stand watching them because nobody watched them. I don't understand what.
I think more people saw the
shut
clips
up.
on X than actually watched the show.
Sure.
See, and that's the
Probably.
thing, and that's what we're kind of getting back to begin with, is that Disney got a get out of jail free card. Valiant was 100% correct on that. They got to get out of jail free card here, and it's almost like Kimmel's doing them a favor by being a dickhole, right? Like, and that's why I believe what we saw in that video is happening. I think it's done. I think it's over, kids. I think the moment that shit leaked to the press, Dana Walden and Bob Iger said, "What the super fuck? This is exactly what we didn't want to happen, and now it has happened. You're gone. We're done." And you know that they're going to know that he leaked it out because it's probably exactly what he wanted to tell them. Because I guarantee you that he sent them like what he was going to say, a speech of what he was going to say. Sorry, go ahead, Scrap.
Real quick, and I have to leave, unfortunately. It's kind of, if I'm getting the leaked story correct, and someone correct me if I'm wrong, it is kind of funny that effectively Kimmel is coming to defense for Trump by showing that it was a corporate decision to kick him out fully, because he's putting the lie to the narrative that Trump told them to do it in that way. If I'm getting the story correct.
The problem is, though, that the media and Disney and all them will allow that lie to spin.
Oh, I know. I understand that. But just like if somebody looks into what the purported facts of the chain of events were.
Because there's a rumor that Trump supposedly called them, but I have yet to see that from any source or anywhere that I even believe it. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think Trump had anything to do with this.
Yeah. And not directly. I'd be surprised if it was a direct call or anything. Yeah.
And I don't think it was really
comes from Roseanne clapping back on Barack Obama.
It was either it could either been Roseanne, or what I think happened was because once Sinclair and Nexstar pulled out, that's when ABC pulled the plug altogether, or at least indefinitely, let's say.
Well, Tom knows, man. It doesn't take many of these stations and these territories. You know, once you got one or three, then they're like, oh, Conan, you're done in Boston. It's gone. That's
I gotta go, guys. I'm sorry.
Scribe has to leave us, and Paul has to leave us, but and Andre just lost his connection, so hopefully he'll be back soon. But so go ahead and plug your wares. You guys are gonna fight it out on who's gonna go first.
Oh, Age Before Beauty.
Oh, thank you very much.
Anyway, so last night on TED Excellence, hey, see, backhanded compliment. Go ahead, Paul.
Thank you. Well, I'm beautiful for my age.
There you go.
I've got nothing going on. I'm going to relax this weekend. I've put out my stuff for the week, whatever I'm going to do, and then I'll think of doing something else. I did finish writing a sitcom, and it has been now properly placed in the proper hands, and we'll see what happens with that. So it's not like I'm not busy.
Is it about an online chat show with a panel of people talking about movies?
I'm not at liberty to say.
I did see you walking out of the Kimmel building in that footage. Did you switch it to the Kimmel Productions, Cabron? Cabron, that's why you're kissing his ass right now.
I want Chudy Gatwa to play me. Okay, I'm just saying.
All I'm saying is
he brings his own apron.
In a very few minutes, I will be deleting every single anti-Disney video that I posted. All I'm saying.
Put on the ears.
I love the thumbnail on your Spinal Tap 2 review, by the way.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Call me Chato on YouTube.
Love you guys. We'll talk to you later. Bye.
Take care, brother. Love you.
Take care. And Scribe, what you got going on? You got a TED Excellence at all coming up?
Yeah, last night did Automating for Equity. A expert in automation and engineering decided to give us a treatise on what the industry that he works for is doing wrong in DEI and how you should find a way to automate it. What does that mean? Spoiler alert, I have no idea. I sat there for 12 minutes listening and waiting. I mean, it's one thing to start listening up. He says, "Did you know that the greatest threat to men in this guy's from the UK. He says the greatest threat to men in the UK is self-deletion. Did you know that 38,000 women left the workforce in engineering last year? Did you know?" And he goes through all this stuff, and I'm thinking, okay, so when you set up this many problems in a presentation, there's an expectation you're going to offer some kind of solution or some kind of salve to that wound. and again and again and again. No. 12 minutes goes by and nothing. It is one long sob story of himself and complaints about things for which he has no solutions at all. And I don't know if that's entertaining for people to watch. I thought it was sort of, but I just ruined the whole show. So you don't even have to go watch it now. But if you want to see what but here's the thing. The reason I watch these things is because I'm always waiting to see what the next argument, the next sales pitch is going to be to try to justify these things. And this talk was given within the last, 2 weeks or something. So this is what they got. I keep my eyes open. Anyways, that happened. And then tomorrow, Saturday at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, I'll have my weekend show where I go over news stories of the week that weren't otherwise headlines, dog, cat, fox, and friend. And I'm going to try to make it as lighthearted as possible given all of the dourness of the last week or two. So that's what I got. And everybody have a good rest of your Friday and weekend. And I think I will see you on Monday if everything lines up. But otherwise, yeah. Bye, guys.
Oh, I thought I was muted. Now I am not muted. All right. That was the opposite. All right. So let's get into these super chats because we got a few. Hopefully Andre will be back soon. His
what happened?
Connection went to hell. He was bitching about it before the show too. He's supposed to be getting it fixed. Ruby Hoove gifted a membership. Thank you for that. And then Flying Blonde on a rocket cycle has been here for Flying Blind on a rocket cycle has been here for 11 months. Thank you for that. And like gifted 5 memberships.
Sounds like a rock and roll band.
Right?
Yeah, Flying Blondes.
Flying Blondes. It does, doesn't it?
Isn't there like, what was that? Rock
Four non-blondes.
4 non-blondes. Yeah, that's what
yeah.
But it's still a stupid. It's such a fine line between stupid and clever. Yeah, it's just like a turnabout.
Yeah.
Well, what's Dr. Long sexy.
Yeah. No, sexist. Dr. Long Dungler's been here for 46 months. Thank you for that. And sends it £1.99 with a thumbs up to remind you to pound that like button if you haven't done it already. And then Tennille comes in with a $5 super chat and says, as far as tempting fate, asking if it can get worse is like topless girl in a horror movie saying everything is going to be all right. Oh, no shit, right? Or I'll be right back. That's another one you don't say in a horror movie. Soul Nightmare says, what did James Gunn do to make Price hate him and Superman so much? He got serious GDS and desperately needs Superman to be a failure. I don't know. Some people just didn't like it. And
Price of Reason didn't like Superman?
No.
Yeah, everyone
got
their
Price
opinion.
has trashed Gunn before over his pedo joke, so there may be a little.
Oh, ouch!
Yeah, I don't know.
A little in reserve there.
Cosmic Flight says leftist boycott Disney, despite the fact that they never actually support their leftist. This is true, leftist products. But remember, they told us it was racist and misogynist to say, cancel Disney when it was over the Acolyte and shit like that. It's like it's like how more people complain about Kimmel's cancellation than watched the show. That's so true. Did you see that? Yeah.
What I was just saying that.
Yep.
Did you see the protesters lining up? All like 5 of them.
I think there were a dozen.
Was there a dozen?
Apparently there was 300. I'm like,
bullshit.
Right. I'm like, get back to work, guys. When I say get back to work, go back to the restaurants and wait on tables.
There weren't even that many fucking people watching his show in the in the crowd. No way.
Well, I mean, it's all soapbox. I mean, these unions have to do that, right? As far as bring out the statements and
is it just the union people? Then fuck, that's even.
That's what I was telling. No, that's what I meant. It's like it's so manufactured. Meanwhile. Yeah, you have tens and thousands of Kirk mourners attending a rally in Colorado Springs where he was supposed to appear at, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, that didn't happen, but they all showed up, and it was like a stadium filled with people. That's the real deal, guys. Whether you agree with this gentleman or not, that's the real, right? And that's what they can't stand. That's it, and
I really hope Andre can get back here because we've got, and this is a good problem to have. Don't get me wrong. We've got a lot of super chats to get through, and I've got a doctor's appointment I got to leave for.
Oh no!
Oh,
Yeah,
well,
and he knows this.
I can
So,
end
like,
the stream if you have.
No, we'll get through this here, and I'll stick
All right,
around as
let's go.
long as I
I'll
can.
shut up.
It's just,
I'll shut up.
it sucks
Go,
because
go,
I
go.
got to drive 45 minutes to my appointment. Oh, I didn't even read this one. Pack and Protons, because actually I have the second half here in the background. Pack and Proton sends in 5. It says, my luck in life, when your artist finally finishes a comic project after 8 years and then posts heinous, and then it goes on to finish it here on the X side he sent to me. Anti-Charlie Kirk image, sorry. Now I have to find someone and rework what was done. Reworked in profile image. Okay, so that's what you see there in the image there.
So he's
So he's
working
making
on a
a-
comic and his
Yeah.
artist posted something crappy. That sucks.
Yeah, sorry, I know my interpretation of that was probably very difficult to understand. That was my fault.
Yeah, and I
But
got
yeah.
yeah. Let's go on.
Sorry to hear that, Pack and Protons. That sucks. And then we got Tennille, who says Tom is absolutely correct. Well, thank you. My dad worked for NBC for decades. I grew up hearing concerns about what was permissible within FCC parameters. Yeah, and I think Valiant put it best. This is why The View has to constantly correct themselves every show, because they say so many untruths on the network airway. It doesn't matter if you're reporting the news or not. If you're on the radio or television that's on a broadcast network, you are under certain regulations and you have to watch what you say, because if you say certain things that can be perceived or seen as untruths, it puts you in a whole new category outside of, just civil shit. Like, it's not just somebody can come after you because they didn't like what you said and all that kind of business, right? It's a matter of, you said something that wasn't true. You can't just go out there and say it like that. It just doesn't, it's not legal. It's under that regulation. So, I mean, I think we explained it pretty good in our video, but yeah.
Yeah, and was it freedom from consequences? Yeah, you can say what you want, but and I would hear that a lot during the last last administration, when people were getting canceled for not doing this and not doing that, as far as being what the government wanted you to do. And people from the left would always tell me, "Oh, well, it's freedom of consequence. That's they're free to do what they want." But
Well, and that's the thing is,
now it's turned around, hasn't it?
It's turned around a little bit, yeah. And then we got Richard the Dungeon Crawler, who says nothing. He's just been a member for 17 months. Oh, I thank God Andre's back. There you are. Dark King says, Scribe. Sorry, I missed this when Scribe was here. My bad. The other side violated the principle years ago. The wokies erased all principles already, and they won't return soon. Enjoy the wasteland. Yeah, I'm sorry I didn't get to this when he was here. We had a lot to talk about in a big panel, and it just didn't get a chance to get to the super chats when I wanted to. So I apologize, Dark King, but we appreciate the support. And I don't know if anybody else wants to comment on this or not, but yeah.
Yeah, I just want to chime in that he's of course right, and that's why you have to be careful and not give ammunition, and that's what Carr just did, justified or not.
Thank you, Dark King. And then we got Silver Nova, who's been here for 53 friggin' months. That's a long time. Tennille then says, turnabout is fair play. There's a cost for inaction. Yeah, well, and that's the other thing is if you don't use it, you lose it. But you also don't want to abuse it. So this is one of those really fine line things where the FCC, they don't really do a lot. They do sometimes, but a lot of times they're just a lot of threats. So that's where 9 times out of 10, the networks and everything are very careful to where they don't even step in their puddle, right? Let alone their lake. So like, I can see where Disney is really being cautious here with a lot of this stuff. And of course they'll paint it as Trump being the bad guy all day long. But at the end of the day, it's Dana Walden and Bob Iger who are making this call. And the call seems to be that if Kimmel's not going to apologize and backtrack a little bit on this, then they're at an impasse. At least is my understanding of the situation. And then Kareen's in the house. How you doing, Kareen? Says, Tom, I want to publicly apologize for you yesterday. Oh, you don't have to do that, but thank you. I did my research and you were right. I was wrong. We good. Yeah, and I appreciate that. But yeah, sometimes
it was great. That was a good conversation you guys had.
Yeah,
yesterday.
no, and I knew where I was coming from, and I understand it. It is a very difficult thing to, how do I put the word, compromise in oneself, especially if you're an absolutist when it comes to free speech. But you have to understand when you're broadcasting out to in a situation where anybody can hear you, you have a responsibility. That responsibility doesn't fall on the internet or cable or satellite, because those are through a portal or a gateway that you have to pay to get to usually.
No,
So
I was
those aren't
listening
considered
to
public,
I was listening to your back and forth yesterday with Karine. You did a great job, Tom. I was like,
I appreciate it.
Good, because you were very respectful to her, because she was bringing up some salient points, but then you're like, look, this is
no, and I can understand, because I agree with just about everything she was saying. See, that's the problem. It's like, I'm somebody who agrees with a lot of the things people are saying, but it's like, look, I know that's the way, but the truth is, this is the rules. It's like, I agree with you. Green is green, but the rules say it's red, unfortunately. So we have to be red, right? And as for now, until we change those rules, and some of those rules I like to be in place, because that's a problem we have right now. Is I think the FCC has let too much go over the past 10 years, because now I don't trust the news for shit.
And this is the problem that Carr has. That everything has been fine in one end, and now suddenly he is enforcing the rules, and just in enforcing the rules that were there and should have been enforced the entire time, he looks partisan. And of course, then he has made some public comments that doesn't make that any better, to be fair. But still, what he fundamentally is enforcing the same rules that were there under Biden and Obama.
And like I said, I agreed. In most cases, you have freedom of speech, but like, with great power comes great responsibility. For Spider-Man, the same thing happens once you get handed that FCC license. And that's what I remembered when I got my license, was that quote. It came right to my brain when with great power comes great responsibility. And mind you, this was before the fucking movie came out. So like, I already knew that quote from Spider-Man for that reason. Like, this is a big deal. Like, this is, you have a responsibility to the people, right? It's a privilege. I don't know the word to put it, but it's a responsibility is the best place I can put it in. But yeah, anyhow,
you said it really well. That's it.
And Jason Webster sends in 5 Australian dollar dues from down under. Hopefully they don't smell like they're from down under. Says this was a failure all around for Kimmel. Station's legal advisors and producers. It should have been shut down before Kimmel said it. Honestly, like, that's what I was saying, Jason, is I can't believe it has gotten to this point, but that's unfortunately where now it falls on Carr's lap to make the decision. And unfortunately, if he does go after Kimmel, it's going to look partisan. Elijah Snow says the real story here is the bottom-up revolt. Disney shouldn't just be scared. They should be terrified. Well, yeah, this is kind of funny because they've got their own turning on them now in a way. Like, fuck Tatiana Maslany. She doesn't mean shit because, like we've said, her saying this just goes to show she's not going to be in Doomsday, obviously. But what about all the other celebrities and folks? How do you think that people are reacting in Hollywood when their own are turning on them?
That's a good question for Paulie. Yeah, then we do have to move on here, but
yeah, we do.
Chime in on this.
What was that? I'm sorry.
The question was how do you think Hollywood is reacting to their own turning on them?
Yeah, like for instance, Maslany, and there's others like her that are suddenly turning on Disney.
I know they don't mean shit to us, but yeah.
But the agents can't be happy about that.
Little too early to. I haven't really gotten the pulse on any of that yet. Ask me Monday.
Yeah,
we'll get back to that.
Rain check.
All right, Penny has become a member. Thank you for that, Penny, or upgraded, one of the two, or what have you, and we appreciate that. I was gonna say I'm pretty sure you remember before, so you probably just upgraded, and we appreciate that. Speaking of members, we do have to try and do something member related this weekend, Andre.
Yeah, hopefully. I know it's coming.
We need to announce it by the end of the show here, I'd imagine. We're gonna do it this weekend.
Well, we have to get our ducks in a row first, then we'll announce.
I know things are falling behind, but I'm trying to keep them in the bag still. So Captain Fandom Nerd has also been a member for 50 months. And we do promise, guys, we're going to do something for you guys very soon, especially now that we have the week delay. Maybe we'll work something out this week instead, I suppose. Yep. And then Pablo Papano points out what we have said already, but is true. Kimmel has refused to apologize because as far as he's concerned, he has no reason to apologize.
Why would he apologize? I mean, from his point of view, he's out the door anyway. This just gave him the opportunity to forever be a martyr. Now that's his legacy. He was fired because he went after Trump, proving that he was right all along and that Trump is a fascist, as opposed to apologizing and then lose the job anyway because he's on his way out the door because he's a money-losing proposition for Disney.
He'd have
From
been
his
better
point
off.
of view, best thing he can do is to play the martyr card.
Well, I was going to say, actually, the best thing he could have done was played ignorant. And actually just thrown himself at the mercy. Because I agree with the sentiment that comedians should never apologize. But the problem, and that's even maybe how he could have started. Like, look, comedians shouldn't apologize for jokes. And that's true. I agree with that. But this technically wasn't a joke. And I was misinformed on the situation. It's ignorance, and I can't even use that as an excuse.
No.
I apologize,
it's in
and blah,
his
blah, blah.
interest.
Something along those lines.
Yeah,
it would have worked out.
It's in his interest to apologize for nothing and just say that dude is MAGA and his crazy fan supporters of his is going to believe him, and then he can forever claim that he was canceled by Trump for being too dangerous. That's his. He wants that to be his legacy. That's the plan, and that's why he is not going to apologize ever. He's going to double down.
My point is that's what he should have done. If I was his publicist, that's what I told him to do. But as Capios points out here in a standard chat, but I thought was poignant, he goes, he refused to apologize. In fact, they warned him before this happened to tone things down. He told them flat out he was going to escalate the rhetoric. And that's exactly my point as to what we got from that THR article, is that he was basically going to double down on a lot of that shit. And it was not going to help the situation. And I think that's why Dana Walden said, well, if you do that, then we're going to pretty much have to reevaluate the situation. Because that's basically the conversation at that time. And then Tennille says,
it's 2021.
Oh, that's what I'm afraid of. Yeah. For anybody's sake, for that matter. Tennille says, remember that. But that's what I'm saying. Playing ignorance would have been his best card at this point. Because that at least falls under the category. And it's kind of hard to prove, but
no, that would have been the most moral card. His self-interest card, keep doubling down.
His self-interest, but the interest for his show, the people and involved and all that business.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking.
No, I know. You and I are on the same page here.
We all agree. We all agree.
Yeah, we all agree here. I'm just saying. I'm talking the other side. Like if I was his publicist, this is what I'd be telling him right now, and you're basically saying what he's feeling. Yeah,
for sure.
And then Tennille says, remember that Simpsons clip where Matt Groening shoots the camera when it cuts to Troy McClure and says, of course, what Matt meant to say, according to his lawyers, was, wonder why that didn't come to mind. Yeah, no kidding, right? And then Pablo Papano says, Kimmel has called for violence on anti-vaxxers. This part is true. Tesla owners, Trump voters in a serious manner. This is the left. Stop making excuses. And I don't think anybody here is making excuses. I think we're just trying to explain the situation as best we can.
Yeah.
We're like, don't shoot the messenger kind of thing. Yeah.
No, because the very same ones who are doing this are the ones who are denying it and who now feel persecuted. And of course, they don't really feel persecuted. They're laughing inside, but they can claim to be persecuted and act as if they were next time around. Continue. No, because this is the same game.
This is a perfect thing to have happen to them and not have to lose anybody. See, that's the thing. And that's what I was getting at before is that's where we really need to beat that drum really hard is like, look, you're not going to get any sympathy from us. Right? Like, or I don't mean us in personal. I just mean, the people on the other side saying, you silenced one of us permanently. So we don't care about Jimmy Kimmel's bullshit. Right? Like that's the kind of fucking rhetoric that you're going to get from the other side for sure. Or at least the attitude.
Moving on.
Go ahead if you wanted to go.
Yeah, I believe this is from the Rumble side.
It is.
Sent us $10 saying, shouting fire in a crowded theater is not illegal. It's a quote from the Supreme Court when they upheld the arrest of a socialist posting anti-draft leaflets during World War I. That decision was reverted long ago. Yeah, maybe.
This is true. But it's a good example. That's why people use it to this day. Because it's the easiest way to paint a picture for even a child, right? To kind of explain how freedom of speech works and the responsibility that comes along with it, right? Because you tell a child you have the freedom of speech and they'll just go run around saying whatever they want. But if you explain to them, yes, you can do that, but you can't do it. You can't do something that's illegal. And something illegal would be like, inciting violence, inciting some sort of riot. There's a number of things that could fall into that category. Technically, screaming fire in a theater is not illegal, but you could get sued by somebody if somebody were to get hurt from running out of the theater. There's a number of other factors here that we could get into if I was a lawyer that I don't have time to right now, that make the example still a relevant case to give a good example of how freedom of speech works, right? So like, yeah, it's really silly to kind of like think of it that way. I mean, I know what you mean. It is technically not illegal, but it's a good example to tell like somebody who's a very simple way to explain freedom of speech, especially like children and stuff like that. And then Pablo Papano says Kimmel is playing.
We missed the previous one, so we'll get back to that.
Did we? Okay, go back to that one then.
Yeah.
Jason Webster says that was my fault for jumping ahead. Late night shows thrived when focusing on covering popular entertainment, says Jason Webster, and variety style entertainment, skits and stand-up comedy, and avoided politics. Yeah,
True.
Johnny Carson
Very
knew
true.
this very, very well. In fact, there's a great clip out there of him basically saying this very thing in so many
You
words.
don't even need to go to Carson. Jimmy Kimmel knew this back in the day when he was joking and apologizing
show,
to Matt
yeah.
Damon and did skits with him and other actors and stuff like that. He knew how to entertain, and that was when he was on the rise. That was before he became a paid influencer and the propagandist. I mean, look at just go to YouTube and find old vintage stuff with him and Matt Damon. It's some of the best talk show stuff out there. I mean, it's up there with Carson.
I forgot all about that because of his bullshit. Actually,
But that's kind of like what I mean. It was bullshit, but it was fun bullshit, and it's
No, I mean his current bullshit.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But that was cool, and that's what he kind of like should be remembered for. But that's what he's no longer that now. Now it's just influencing 24/7, and there's no more entertainment other than when he does more influencing, which is what all the celebrity interviews ultimately are.
And then we got Pablo Papano, who says Kimmel is playing the Howard Stern card, blame the government to appear as a martyr for free speech, even though Jimbo Kimball, I like it, Jimbo Kimball, does not support free speech. Honestly, Howard Stern did pull a lot of the same crap, and he was under the same regulations. See, that's why I'm surprised so many people don't understand FCC regulations more than they do, and I've had to explain a lot of shit to people in the last, few days, especially because of this. Because a lot of us lived through the Howard Stern days. I would think more people would be more informed on this shit. Because that was a lot of the problems there. It wasn't so much what Stern was doing. Like, he could get away with talking about a lot of the things he was. It was just some of the words and things that he was using. And the fact that he was on public radio. Because now that he's on private radio, it doesn't matter. He can say and do more than anything he could before. Channel Surf says, there sure is a lot of second guessing on people on this by people on the right. The left had no problem about the people the left canceled. They were joyful. Agree with Paulie here. And yeah, Channel Surf. Well, this is where, look, this is a thing that's been on the right for a long time where, and it kind of goes back to what I was saying before about them not wanting to, shake things up for their family and stuff like that, is they tend to let things go too easily. And you're not wrong. And I do have to agree with you there. So, yeah, anybody wanted to add to that? Otherwise, we're just going to keep going. But, yeah. Everybody's
first they came for the funny, talented comedians, and Jimmy Kimmel did not speak out because he was not a funny, talented comedian. I have to
That was funnier than Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah. Yeah, it was indeed.
Lightning Sketch Productions says, would this situation have influence on voting for the next CEO?
Nope, none whatsoever.
Not likely, no. Pilgrim Media says they are on the wrong side of history enough. Yeah,
it's funny
they won't
how
admit it.
everyone who screams out loud, we're on the right side of history, almost always are on the wrong one. That's what happens when you're that convinced that you are right.
And then Pilgrim Media says, Paulie, I understand your pride for your culture. I feel the same way for mine.
Yeah. Everyone should take pride in their culture. With some exceptions. But
now we take pride in our collective nerd culture here.
Yeah,
Amen.
exactly.
Amen.
You
Amen.
can be part of multiple different cultures at the same time.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Pilgrim.
Then Eclipse Warlord says, hope the new time ends up working well. I will probably have to watch the replays due to my schedule. Sorry to hear that. Listening at work in clumps anyways. Well, so it won't change too much for you, I guess. But yeah, for those who don't know what he's talking about, it was initially supposed to happen Monday, but we're moving it back another week. So a week from this Monday, we'll be going 2 hours earlier. That'll be 9 a.m. Central, 10 Eastern. And we will have, hopefully, our first face reveal of Andre and be on camera and all that business. So,
Wait,
yeah,
did you
join
get
us
that right? 9 a.m. Central.
10 a.m.
10
Eastern.
Eastern.
Yeah.
Oh, is that
That's right.
right?
Yep.
Yeah. Starting September
Gotcha.
29th.
So 7 a.m. Pacific.
And we're doing it so you can't come and bug us because we know that you're going to be asleep still.
You know what's funny is
See that, Snowden?
I'm up and working at 5 a.m. So
I know you are.
he knows. Cabron.
Yeah,
He'll be
we'll
here.
have you more often. That's
Yeah.
that's what's going to happen. Yeah.
No, yeah, it seems like, and this is just shop talk real quick, the only one who's going to really be affected probably by it the most will be Scribe, so he'll be able to come in, I think, later in the show more often, but, so other than that, hopefully it'll work out for everybody involved who's watching and on the panel, and it may even open us up for some more panel members as well in the future, so.
Nice.
And then we got Seraphis, who says, I find it funny that no one supporting Kimmel can't understand that Nexstar and Sinclair groups are going through their own mergers and both hold large shares of ABC channels. I hope you all are doing well. Actually, I mean, did we even get into it in the video last night? I know I sent it as part of the
We
initial
did
script.
get into it a little
Yeah,
bit.
I say
And
we
first of
mentioned
all-
it, but yeah.
And first of all, Separatist, thanks for the $20. That's much appreciated. And secondarily, it's not so much that they can't understand, it's that they won't understand. It's inconvenient for the narrative. This is what you have to understand. Well, not you specifically, but what people need to understand. With everyone who is enraged right now, they know what's really going on. They know that Jimmy Kimmel is a legal liability. They know that he is costing Disney a fortune. They probably have very strong suspicions as to the real reason why Bob Iger made the call to preempt the show. And just looking at all the pictures of the scenery being taken down, cancel it permanently. Most of them, they all know that, but they're not going to say it in public because that would be bad for their preferred narrative. Their preferred narrative is that Jimmy Kimmel is a hero who spoke up against tyranny and fascism, and then he was taken down by the fascist as a true martyr. And that is what you need to pay attention to, the takedown of the glorious, noble Jimmy Kimmel. Forget about this Charlie Kirk fella. That's the narrative that many people out there want you to believe. That's what they want the media to say. And then it's very inconvenient, this thing with Nexstar and Sinclair, because that kind of like puts a hole in that entire narrative. I mean, it's a real torpedo in the bow of the story that they want to be true and portray as to be true, which is why it's not that they can't understand, it's that they won't address it and pretend it's not happening.
And on the other side of this is, I'm not even sure if Sinclair is still involved, and this is why we didn't get too deep into the weeds with it in the video yesterday, is that my understanding is that Sinclair made an offer for the same company that Nexstar is trying to merge with, but I don't think Sinclair is a part of that anymore. But when Nexstar did what they did, Sinclair followed suit. So to me, I agree with Andre. I think that the merger is less to do with anything than the other shit that's involved.
Yeah. I think that Nexstar and Sinclair did the same thing completely independent of each other because they are both legally liable if someone does decide to go after them for the hoax paragraph, basically. So it's in their best interest to stay relevant to the rules, and especially with Sinclair, that also has a known conservative bent. So I don't think that what Nexstar did had anything to do with what Sinclair did. I think both of them just used the same logic and did what they had to do given the situation. Only Sinclair did it with a little bit more fervor because of their political colors. That's my read of that situation.
And then beyond that, I mean, at this point, well, never mind. Forget that train of thought.
Chris,
Let's get
any
moving.
final words on this before you have to bail?
Yeah, that's kind of
No,
distracted me.
I think we've almost beaten that horse. I believe we'll see what happens. Kimmel might be back on the air Monday. I did want to point out something I thought was kind of funny. Was it Six that sent us that moving footage?
Yes, that was
Yes.
Did anybody notice? The thing that was being pushed out on the little cart was a mini fridge, right?
Yeah, I saw that.
That's out of somebody's office. That's a good point. Yeah.
Right. But what I also noticed, because you played it a couple times, so that's the first thing I noticed. And then I noticed you got one guy with one hand pushing out that fridge, and then you have another guy right beside him, not pushing anything, not carrying anything. I'm like, is that his union supervisor? Does it require this additional union guy? I mean, how expensive is it just to move this guy out? Anyhow, I don't know. Maybe he's moving out. Maybe he's getting a refreshed office.
I know. Yeah, I've said that too. Though.
No,
That's the problem with
listen,
Hollywood is that the unions, it takes 3 guys to do one person's job now. Yeah,
that's why they film everywhere else, right? Which brought me back. I was thinking about when Paulie was talking about the Beverly Hillbillies. What a fantastic concept, and how cheap, right? Because you can just have these character actors, and you're just running around outside the studio, right? And on the studio backlot. It's so cheap to make. Bleedingfool.com. We've got, I think a lot of people like Paulie and Tom and Andre and a lot of your viewers might be interested in this report on a survey that we just posted at bleedingfool.com about who is still going to theaters in 2025. What demo, what type of person, why they're going.
Oh, I know that.
We kind of break that down a little bit.
Nice.
And out of a survey of 1,000 adults, only 16% still prefer going to theaters. And we kind of dive in to that 16%, but that's a massive loss. And I know everybody's excited about Fantastic Four coming out digitally, I think Monday. Yeah, I know. Anyhow, guys, I'm so glad to be back. Thanks for everybody's concern, and I hope you have a great weekend. And I'm going to sleep in a little late on Monday since we don't have to start earlier. But
I'm
love
not going
you
to get into
guys.
Specifics, but I am glad to hear that everything is going better on your end, Chris.
Thank you so much, guys. I'm very cheered. Love you guys. Enjoyed it. Have a great weekend.
Take care, brother.
And then we got Paulie. You got anything coming up?
Just my birthday coming up Monday. This weekend we're having a party here, so I'm gonna get
happy birthday Monday.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Gonna get back
Speaking of birthdays, real
We're gonna
quick,
have,
if I can, guess whose birthday is today?
Ooh.
Valiant Renegade.
Oh wow! There you go.
So happy birthday, Valiant Renegade! And yesterday, happy birthday to my Mead brother, Nick Weiser. So yeah.
Wow.
So anyway, and happy birthday to you this Monday, Paulie. But anyway, you were saying, I'm sorry.
No, man. Just gonna get back at it. I'm just setting up the backyard a lot. We'll have family and friends over. Yeah, man. Just keep supporting Midnight's Edge, guys. Make sure you're subscribed. Watch our videos. I'll watch Andre and Tom's videos. And you guys have a great weekend. Peace, everyone.
Thanks. And Andre, anything else before we go?
No, just stay tuned over the course of the weekend, as there will be more videos dropping.
And with that,
it is time to bring out the koalas in the rain.
Koalas in the rain, koalas in the rain, no fucks given. Koalas in the rain, koalas in the rain, no fucks given. Koalas in the rain.